the Istrian port of Porec, Croatia for round 2 of the 2008 Medicsan Archery World Cup. Back in 2006, Porec hosted the very first World Cup, an event that would set the benchmark for every World Cup round held since. In round 1, Compound Supremo Dave Cousins ran away with every gold medal and world records left on the table. Natalia Valeva brushed aside any misguided perceptions that the ladies would take a more refined approach to the proceedings as she obliterated everything and everyone that stood in her way. Away from the unpredictable weather conditions of Santo Domingo, round 2 found the Italians shooting like they're on home soil, with the French standing by to pull the ground out from under their feet. 2006 Recurve Uber archer Pak Kyung-mo made a slight return, as does China's Zhang Zhuangzhuang. The Russian powerhouse of Erdeneva, Goncharova, Tzarimpolov, and Loginova made a deafening silence in round 1. Mexico continues to field exemplary recurve talent, but with little to show for it. Expectations are high as round 2 of the 2008 Medicsan Archery World Cup touches down in Europe, where a record-breaking 360 archers line up for the X-Ring and a shot at gold.
In the women's compound bronze final, Anne Lorilla from Finland took on Britain's Andrea Gales. Anne fell to Nicola Simpson in the semi-finals, losing by just 1 point, 1-11-1-12, whilst Andrea would suffer defeat at the hands of Amandine Bouillot from France in a fought semi-final face-off that would also end with just 1 point separating the two archers. Anne took the first end with a flying start, shooting a 10x with her first arrow. Andrea would make a disastrous start, finishing end 1 3 points behind Anne. In the second, Andrea levelled proceedings after Anne failed on more than one occasion to get inside the yellow, 54-54. The third end would see Anne grab back the lead with a 1 point margin after shooting 29 to Andrea's 28. 83 plays 82. Anne could not finish as she had started and shot an 8 with her last arrow, gifting Andrea a 2 point lead and a bronze medal. In a match worthy of a gold final, both Dominique Genet and Dietmar Trillis would find in each other the most worthy of adversaries. Dominique received his marching orders after losing a gripping match with Roberval dos Santos, 1-1-5-1-1-3. Dietmar had a somewhat different journey after forcing Sergio Pani to a tiebreak after both archers finished on 1-1-6 after 12 arrows. On the second tiebreak, Pani played his joker and shot a 10. All of a sudden, Dietmar's 9 seemed hopeless. In this bronze final, both archers scored 28 points in the third end, Genet unable to close and Dietmar failing to extend his lead. Dietmar would finish the match perfectly with 30 points from his last 3 arrows. Genet would make 29, giving Dietmar a 3 point margin and the bronze. On any other day, Genet's style is enough to sink any compound archer on the international circuit, but not today. Natalia Valeva waved goodbye to a second consecutive gold medal after losing the second tiebreak in a thrilling match of nerves with Korean Yoon Ok Hee, after both archers shot 105 from 12 arrows. Similarly, Park Sung-hyun would fail to impress against the on-form Justyna Mospinek from Poland. Park would lose by 1 point to join Natalia Valeva in the bronze final. Both archers shot well in the first end, with Park giving a textbook lesson in the art of grouping arrows. Park edged ahead 29-28. In the second, Natalia shot 2 8s that allowed Park to pull away with a 4 point lead and 29 points from 3 arrows, 58-53. If Park showed any sign of faltering at all, it came in the fourth as she faced a spirited 29 from Natalia. For the first time in the match, Park appeared to lose concentration and dropped 2 points. Park's display of dominance towered over the Italians in a deserving win that practically defined the art of bow shooting. This round of the World Cup was given the added bonus of Korea's Kyung-mo Park. Park entered the World Cup history books in 2006 with his emphatic performances throughout the year. In 2007, he all but disappeared after a shocking home defeat in Ulsan against Thomas Aubert from France. Park appears in the bronze medal final after losing to Indians Raoul Banerjee 110-107. In Donghyun came face-to-face with another Français in the semis, this time Romain Giroul. The 1 point separating the two archers would be enough to send Romain to the gold and Im into contest with Park. The third would see Park and Im repeat the tally achieved in the second, closing the gap by just 1 point, 86-85, both archers scoring 29. In the fourth and final end, Park would see his countryman and teammate lock the door as both archers finished with 28 points apiece. Im took the bronze by 1 point. Im deserves the bronze, but the World Cup deserves archers like Park. Welcome home.
France's Amandine Bouillot has had an exemplary couple of seasons. The last couple of years have seen her post a new FIDE world record, while this woman, Nicola Simpson, is perhaps at the peak of her career, having won the Las Vegas International Tournament earlier this year. Now we're getting into end 3 as we're looking at a situation where Bouillot and Simpson are neck and neck. After 6 arrows, Simpson has a 1-point lead. 10 points on that shot from Amandine Bouillot. Now the conditions in the stadium are windy. You can see a little bit of movement, but Simpson shooting strong. The youthful Amandine Bouillot has been competing since, well, approximately 10 years now. However, Nicola Simpson has a career that's about 3 times longer. Solid shooting from Nicola Simpson for a treble 10, and that gives her the advantage, a 2-point advantage at this stage. Amandine Bouillot has also been shooting strongly. She's got 84 out of 90 points. Wind conditions have been dying down slightly now for this portion of their match. Nicola's coach, Peter Suk, whose philosophy is be like the sea, is able to point at the ocean beyond the shooters. Amandine Bouillot showing some calm, shooting that perfect 10, while Nicola Simpson just starts showing a little bit of potential crack in the armor. This is where it gets interesting. It's a liner, it's a 10. Nicola shooting solidly and shooting with confidence. Almost hits that first arrow.
And the score is tied on the final.
It's a 10-10-10 for Amandine Bouillot, which puts a little extra pressure on Nicola. She's got to hit the 10 ring to tie this match and force a shoot-off. And she doesn't quite make it. She's about 3 millimeters out with that arrow. It's a heck of a group, but not good enough to beat Amandine Bouillot, who takes the gold medal and a substantial amount of sponsor money as well.
Thank you. Very nice. Thank you.
Big victory for Amandine Bouillot. Now coming up, we've got a very interesting match. It's Roberval dos Santos, a veteran of the World Cup, and someone who hasn't made quite as much of a mark on the World Cup circuit. This is Roberval in the background here, getting his arrows. Getting into the third end now. Roberval is behind by a certain number of points, in fact 2 points, to this guy, Sergio Pagni, who has had a great career as an indoor shooter. Roberval dos Santos right now with 56 points on the board. Sergio has stormed the board in the last couple of ends. He had treble 10. Can he keep it up? Sergio Pagni with a very smooth style and another 10, the 4th one in a row. The thing about Pagni is he is known as a great indoor shooter. He won the Nîmes International Indoor earlier this year, and then he followed that up with a big win at the European Indoor in Torino, Italy this year. So his indoor record, and there's another 10, that's 5 in a row. His indoor record is unmatched in Europe in the past 2 years. Roberval is a great outdoor shooter, but showing a few gaps here. He just shot an 8. Sergio's got 5 10s in a row. It puts a lot of pressure on his opponent. Okay, 6 10s in a row. And in fact, they're X's. Doesn't get much more accurate than that. So, Roberval dos Santos now in some trouble. He's got a 5-point deficit. Sergio Pagni shooting with calm and coolness. See what happens here. We've got a little bit of wind in the venue, but not enough to stop Sergio from shooting essentially a 60 on those last 6 arrows. Roberval with a 9. Sergio looks like a rock up there. Nice and smooth, and another 10. That's 7 in a row. And now Roberval matches it, but with only 1 arrow left from Roberval and 2 left in Sergio's quiver, it'll be a tall order for Roberval to catch Sergio. Just 5 points will be enough for Sergio to pick up the lead here. Let's see if he gets another 10. Well, he was making it look pretty easy. That's out by about 2 millimeters in the 9 ring. Roberval, last shot. And it looks like a liner, almost a pass-through, actually. Will it be enough to hold off Sergio? No way. 9 points. Sergio Pani taking it decisively. Unstoppable. Really an impressive victory on the part of Sergio Pani, and not a bad performance on the part of Roberball either. So Roberball dos Santos, the Brazilian sensation, going out, but no shame with a silver medal. Sergio Pani with gold.
I began because my father was an archer too, and I started because of him.
In my town where I live and go to school was a sport club with archery, and I go for a first training and I'm stay there.
I have a couple here.
That's okay, tell us.
It's my coach. Two of my coaches have Mr. Lee and Mr. Ruben Almanzor, who was the Mexican trainer, who was my first trainer, my first coach. And then my father is from me, an hero. Last year, the most difficult was Italy, because it was raining, it was cold, and we don't shoot like that in Mexico.
I want to win the Olympics Games because it's my dreams come true when I do it.
My dream is in Beijing.
For me, it will be the second Olympics.
Yeah, I want to make something big for Mexico, for me, for my family.
I go there with my friends to have best results, and maybe we could win the medal.
I try to be just another guy in the sport, and everybody looks at me like that.
We have everything to be the best in the world.
I'm just taking good chances, good opportunity to get better and better.
It's the individual recurve women's gold medal match here, and it pits one of the top shooters from Korea against one of the top shooters from Poland. Asia versus Europe. This is Yoon Oh-ki. She won the World Cup Stage 4 of 2006 in Shanghai, China. Meanwhile, her opponent's highest finish at that event was 4th. She also was 2nd in Beijing at the People's Republic of China Good Luck Beijing test event, the warm-up for the Olympic Games.
Houston Moshpanek shooting first on target number 2 for the gold medal.
Now, all the way through this, Houston Moshpanek has been shooting at a high standard. Winds have died down in the competition venue, and so things are going just a little more easily for the recurve shooters than for the compounds earlier today. Houston is starting off with a 10. Yoon matches it.
10 points.
We've got Yoon wired for sound, so you can hear some of what the coach is saying to her, and perhaps you can pick up a few of the very sparse comments we get from the Korean women at these events. Houston is also wired for sound. So we've got an opening end of 27 for Houston, and a 2-point advantage right out of the box for Miss Yoon. Houston is a couple of years older than Miss Yoon. You notice something right off the bat here. Yoon Oh-ki with some really excellent grouping. Target archery is arguably a sport of consistency, where you are able to put arrows downrange the same exact way time after time. The effect is that of a group. You get a group of arrows together in the same place in the target. In fact, archers really measure their progress by their ability to group more than their ability to score, because all those little shiny knobs on the bow side allow you to basically move the group around, which gets you the score down the road.
9 points.
Yoon Oh-ki still in the gold. Ultimately, there's nothing more important than the ability to group when you're shooting target archery. Yoon Oh-ki so far has shown a higher grouping potential than Houston. Houston's group is a little more open, a little more across the target. And when conditions are good, that can be critical in terms of your raw score. Coming up to the half now, Houston, now there's an example of what I was talking about. A little more spread across the target with that 7. You don't want to give up a 7 against any Korean shooter. She takes the lead by 3. Now, at the halfway mark, unofficially, in fact, a 4-point lead for Miss Yoon. 12 arrows is not very many arrows, and you don't want to give up too many points early on. Justina has given up a critical 7 and a critical 8. Yoon is completely in the gold at this point. That's why she's dominating the match. She's got a 4-point lead, and we've only got 5 arrows left. And there's another arrow out of the gold for Justina. You cannot afford that against a Korean archer. And that is why. Justina responds with her 10, but she's really in a bit of trouble here. Yoon's looking at a potential 5-point lead. She takes it.
10 points. A 6-point lead with 3 arrows to go in this.
At this point, Justina Moshpanek can only hope her opponent makes a big mistake. And she knows it. Consolation is that she knows that she's going to have a medal either way, but Yoon Ok is cruising along at this point. All she has to do is group one more time, put them in the middle, and she's got the gold. And a nice solid shot from Justina, obviously not giving into the pressure of the situation. That shot shows the strong setup that Yoon Ok uses to get the tremendous consistency that she shows. She pulls to within a couple of millimeters of the clicker, and then it's just a small amount of muscle tension needed to set off the shot. And here comes the #1 ranked Yoon Ok's 11th arrow. It's another 10. She's shooting like a machine. There are those who say that the 12-arrow round is a little bit like a lottery, but it seems that the lottery winners are consistently the best shooters. And here's how it's done. Solid shooting. Just kind of taking it in stride. Yoon Ok with her victory, a gold medal, and a good chance that she'll be a strong force to contend with later this year when we get to Beijing. Then again, don't discount Justina Moshpanek, who's had a very consistent run, very consistent shooting for the past year. She's definitely on target for Beijing.
한국에서 한 2-3번 정도는
I have had the experience of shooting environments like this before in Korea. It is always interesting and is good for supporters and good for archers. When I shoot arrow by arrow. I do not look at who I'm shooting against.
Now the compound men's, recurve men's division gold medal match between two gentlemen who haven't met before in competition, at least so far as we're aware. Romain Giroul, this gentleman right here, has the distinction of being the best shooter not to have an Olympic qualifying spot, while this gentleman's sister is the champion of last year's World Cup Grand Final in Dubai. Obviously, the man by the name of Banerjee is going to have a family with some strong archery genetics, and I think we're about to find out just how strong they are. Now, first shot from Romain Giroul, right out of the box, 10. Mr. Banerjee matches it. Romain Giroul looking nice and calm, and another 10. Conditions have really gotten ideal for high scoring, and in fact a lot of the spectators were amazed to see that the recurve shooters were able to shoot scores that exceeded or at least approached those of the compound shooters earlier in the day. It's fast that people forget that the wind was howling during the compound matches. Now, you don't want to do that in a situation like this. You don't want to start with a 4-point deficit out of the box, especially when your competition is looking for a slot at the Olympic Games with a great deal of passion. That's Romain Giroul. Mr. Banerjee is behind, and so he'll start again when we resume this end. He shoots and scores a 10. Absolutely a solid shooter. Rahul Banerjee is 22 years old. He's a student. Among other sports, he likes cricket and football. He's actually a couple of years older than Romain Giroul. Romain is a student in computer studies. He enjoys cinema and sport. He finished 5th at the test event in Beijing this past year. Banerjee certainly showing the potential to challenge Mr. Giroud. Halfway through the match now, Romain Giroud with 1 point shy of a perfect score, putting the pressure on Mr. Banerjee. Solid shot, good timing, gets a 9 out of it. And a 9 from Mr. Giroud. 3 point difference in favor of Giroud. Mr. Banerjee giving up a couple points there. 6 will lead, and it's a 9. It's a 4 point lead for Romain Giroud now. 4 arrows to go for Romain Giroud, 3 arrows to go for Mr. Banerjee. 6 will take the lead on this shot, and he takes an additional 4 points. So, big advantage for Romain Giroud. You really have a lot of advantage when you've got this much of a gap going into the last 3 arrows. You can basically cruise along while your opponent has to do everything they can to try to hold you at bay. Last shots, and once again, Mr. Banerjee shooting first. Solid shot from Romain Giroud. 2 arrows to go. 7 point lead. It isn't that Mr. Banerjee has been shooting poorly. It's that Mr. Giroud has been shooting brilliantly in this end.
9 points. Final arrows of the match. Last shot. It is a 9.
4 will win the match, and it's a solid 10. Romain Giroud taking this, and hopefully, in his case, taking an Olympic slot, because his last chance is going to be in just a few weeks at the European Outdoor Championship. Can France win a slot for this man? That's the question right now. He has the potential to win the Olympic Games. He just needs a ticket to ride. A convincing 116-point victory for Romain Giroud.
Déjà, je suis arrivé, j'étais assez tendu, on va dire, parce que bon, suite au match par équipe.
When I arrived, I was already a little tense because after the team match did not go so well, I shot badly, so I was tense, but I opened up with a good round of arrows and after shot exactly how I wanted to. My schedule is the national selection next week. This will determine the 3 archers that will compete in Vittel. After this, the European Championships, for the Olympics, and then normally the World Cup in Boe. And I hope the Olympic Games in Beijing. It feels good to be supported by the public, and when it's a final like this, I always feel supported by the public. It's a great source of encouragement.
All right, so 2 World Cup rounds are now complete, and we're seeing some new names and some old names on the ranking lists. Amandine Bouillot for the compound women, #1. Croatia's Ivana Budin, having won a silver in Dominican Republic, is 2nd. Jamie Van Natta, the old standby, is 3rd right now. When it comes to the compound men, who don't you see? Where is Jorge? Jorge Jimenez hasn't made it onto the list after 2 stages for the first time in 2 years. Meanwhile, Roberval dos Santos, a holdover, 31 points. Dietmar Trillis, the reigning world champion, is 2nd. Liam Grimwood of GBR is 3rd. USA's Dave Cousins, #4, tied with Sergio Pagni with 25 points each. And some new names. Robert Timms from Oz with 21 points. When it comes to the recurve women, it's a who's who list. Natalia Valeva, #1 on that list with 40 points for the reigning world champion. Yusina Moshpanek ranked 2nd at this event with 29, and she is 2nd. Yoon Ok of Korea, a strong 25 points for 3rd, and the winner of last year, Natalia Erdeneva, with 21 points and 4th place. Romain Giroud, #1 on the board right now, a new name as far as the World Cup list is concerned. A man who's not a new name to the World Cup is Ilario Dubuo of Italy. With 25 points, he's 2nd. And the sister of this gentleman, Rahul Banerjee, was champion last year. Can the brother make it all the way to the end? We'll find out as the year progresses. That's all from Porec and the second round of the 2008 Medicsan Archery World Cup. You can catch up with all of the action from the World Cup on archery.tv. Don't forget to join us for round 3 in Antalya. Until then, thanks for watching and bye for now.